Warning: the following video contains explicit language which may be offensive to some viewers or inappropriate for children. The content within this video is intended for mature audiences only.
Hello and welcome to this video. Hope everyone is doing well. I hope everyone is having fun, and I hope the universe is treating you fairly. Today's video, I'm going to be talking about the 2017 space opera film Valerian and the City of a Thousand Planets. I passed on this movie when it came out. Really, I did. Had no interest in it, nothing, there was nothing about it that made me want to seek it out, watch it, until the other day. I had a bunch of stuff that comes up on my YouTube feed. I had like different music mixes. And the section of the movie, which is called the Bubble Dance, Rihanna does it, and we'll get back to Rihanna's brilliance in this movie here in a little bit. And I was watching it, and I've watched it, the music and the dance and the choreography I've always liked. So the other day I was sitting there, and I was like, you know what? I kind of want the context of what's going on here. So I found the movie streaming. At time of filming, it was streaming on HBO. I watched it and went, okay, this, why this movie was ever publicized or promoted as a blockbuster, I have no idea. It's not that. What this movie is a high-dollar art film, and a very good high-dollar art film. If you go into this film under the idea, and a lot of people did, well, not a lot of people, some people did, because this flopped hard at the box office. This movie, if you go into it expecting a, Terminator or Predator or Alien type of sci-fi blockbuster, you're going to be disappointed, and buddy, this ain't it. Now, if you go in going, we're going to make a movie, an art film based on a very niche, very artistic, well thought out exploration into human behavior comic. Hey, if you go into it with that idea, you're good. Though I'm kind of confused because, like I said, at time of filming, this is being early in the month. It's on HBO Max, but according to the documentation I pulled up on it, it was released by Walt Disney Studios under the Buena Vista International imprint. So I guess technically it's a House of Mouse movie, but I don't know, because when you start importing and exporting things to different countries and stuff like that, ownership and rights, and this being based on a French comic, it gets there. It's ownership gets really weird. So, and crediting ownership, it's just one of those things. The movie was made on a budget of 197 million euros, which equates to, at the time that this movie was made, about $209 million. The gross, what it made back, what it made back in the box office was 226 million. Rule of thumb, you take the budget, 209 million, you double it, which would be 418 million, to cover the cost of promotional stuff, giveaways, pay your actors and actresses to do the night talk show thing, promotion of the movie. The fact that it made 226 million, it flopped hard. And I think one of the reasons why it flopped like it did is because it was billed as a sci-fi blockbuster, and it's not. At its heart and soul, this is an art movie. It is a well-done art movie. They lean into the comic book art aesthetic. Like I said, and they do a wonderful job. But, in my opinion, like I've said in a lot of other videos, opinions are like assholes. Everyone has one. And they all stink. This is a standard issue. Save the princess, queen, spirit, la la la. Love story. It has some rom-com moments in it. The seem, from what I've read so far of the comics, and I'm reading them online, I haven't picked them up in a tangible hard copy yet, and there are things that they tried to make this what it's not. This is an art film. This is a reflection of the human, our ability to accept things we don't understand, how to embrace difference, how to love the immigrant as we love ourselves, you know. And that's what it's an exploration of. It's kind of Babylon 5-ish. There are some plot beats, there are some story beats, there are things that parallel the concepts in the TV show Babylon 5. But overall, this is an art film. Should have never been hyped as a blockbuster. Should have never. And I think if they would have done that and trusted their audiences, would have branded it as an art film, branded it as a niche thing, sat back and expected to take short-term losses on it, and trust their audience to build on it, build a underground or midnight movie following, cult following. That's the word I was looking for, cult following. This is wonderfully done. For what they were trying to do, they did a good job. However, they didn't trust the audience. And they tried, I don't know if who made the decision to promote it as a summer blockbuster film. Whoever that person was, let's hope they don't have any children. I'm joking. I am joking. That was, I probably shouldn't have said that, but it was just a joke. The director was Luc Besson. And Luc Besson is not a bad director. He's given us, in 1990, he gave us La Femme Nikita. 1994, he gave us Leon the Professional. In 1997, he gave us The Fifth Element. In 1999, he gave us The Story of Joan of Arc. All good movies of their own. So it wasn't the lack of a bad director. I think it was the studio's fault. The cinematography is there, the art, the visuals in this movie pay homage to the source material. And the source material is dense. You could probably take 2-3 pages from the source material and make a 20-hour movie. It is dense, it's rich, it's full of world building, it's full of a lot of things that don't translate well to film. They streamlined it the best they could for what they were trying to do. This is one of those movies that hopefully in time that this movie gains the recognition that it deserves. If you sit and you watch the movie and you just let the movie happen, just let it happen. Don't question it. Don't try to think too much about it. Just let it happen. Then process it after you finished watching it. There's a lot of sci-fi elements. Now, Rihanna as the character Bubble. In the movie, Bubble has a fairly small part. However, Rihanna owns it. Rihanna owns it in both when Bubble takes its human form and when it's in its natural state. They're shape changers, and the dance that Rihanna does, that there's 9 million videos of it on YouTube, just type in Bubble Dance Rihanna and you'll see it, and it's done. It's well done in context to help better understand what's going on. Is when she's introduced to us, the audience, and the main character, Valerian. She's working in a brothel. Ethan Hawke makes a cameo as her pimp. So, yeah, for her being a prostitute, the dance makes sense. The dance, the seductiveness to it, the sexual connotations, because she's a prostitute. The pimp and the prostitute trying to make money, and there's certain things that have to be done for the intercourse of this transaction, and it's well done. It's artistically done. They could have gone with gratuitous nudity. But they didn't. They kept it scantily clad, enough to keep you in the understanding that we're dealing with a being that's being used as a prostitute, that's being pimped out, and Valerian helps escape that life. So yeah, it's it is moments like that and those plot beats in the comic that are deeper, richer, have more emotional investment, and did not transfer well to the film. I'm reading the French comic, which is simply called Valerian and Laureline, which is his partner. He's Major Valerian, and she's Sergeant Laureline. The comic, what I'm reading online is you have the choice on Read All Comics Free. If you go to that website to read it, I will tell you, you need to get your pop-up blockers going because it is hosted on a porn site. And if your pop-up blockers aren't doing their job, you're going to get a bunch of pornography, pop-ups and stuff like that, advertisements for sex toys and what have you. I figured I'd throw that in immediately after talking about the character Bubble, just because it's a good place. It kind of flows, kind of rhymes like poetry. They have the individual monthlies and they have the graphic novels. I'm reading the graphic novels just because that's the kind of person I am. I will probably at some point pick up the graphic novels because they're not that expensive. I've looked at them on both eBay and Amazon. The prices aren't that bad. The only problem on getting it off eBay is making sure you get one in English, or at least for me to get one in English, because I know squat for French, though I imagine in the French it's more poetic and a better story. So there's that. You can't, it's hard to put into words what the story is, both in the print media and in the film media. It's because it's one story taken out of the second volume, and the moviegoer, the person who's just seen the movie, who has not watched or read, have not read the comics. I'm be honest with you, I can see where they would get lost. I can see where they could get confused. And I can also see people that are fans of the comics losing their shit over this movie, because they had to gut so much of it out of the comic and simplify it so far for the movie-going audience. And I can't speak for other countries, and I can't speak for states outside of Texas, but yeah, it's not going in America, or at least in Texas. You're not going to get a strong theater turnout with that much nuance, that requires that much critical thinking skills, that requires you to be able to shift perspective on it like that. And it helps if you have a great amount of empathy. That's the word I was trying to say, empathy. If you're able to sit there, take in the nuances and stuff like that, great comic, good movie. But like I said, when you watch the movie, especially if you haven't read the comics, just let it happen. Just let the movie go. Just look at it, let it go, absorb it. Don't question it. Just absorb it. Then think about it. Think about what you saw. Think about what you heard. Think about what was said. Think about this action, how this action affected that action. Then maybe go back and rewatch it and look for those details and think your way through it. that's what I did. Like I said, it's one of those movies. Like I said, it is criminally underrated. But the reason why it's criminally underrated, it was marketed to the wrong type of moviegoer. I'm sure now that it's on DVD and Blu-ray and everything else with initials that we use at home media, and it's streaming, that it may have or may be built. I couldn't find anywhere where it had a cult following, or at least here in the States. If you're not in America and you're watching this, let me know if there's, like, wherever you're at, if there's kind of like a cult following or a mainstream following, whatever. Because I'd be interested in that, because this movie deserves a lot more than what it's given, what it has. Now, is it a Star Wars or Dune or Alien Predator blockbuster type movie? No, it's never going to be that. If you're staying faithful and true to the comics, anything adapted from those comics, that it's not going to be that. It's going to be this wonderful world that requires critical thinking, being able to understand the rules and the logic for this world, this universe, and be able to think within those rules. And it just makes it so much better. So just better. Like I said, this is a movie that will not appeal to the masses, and didn't appeal to the masses. You look at its box office number. No, it did not appeal to the masses. So yeah, it's. I'd love if you're from France, in France, a French patriot, whatever. Let me know how it's absorbed in that, how it's looked at and thought of in that country, because from my perspective, it comes across kind of before America diluted and polluted the heavy metal magazine. I forget what it's called in French, but once America stuck its protuberances into it, it kind of lost a lot of its flair. You go back to, I forgot what the French name for heavy metal is, and I probably should have looked it up, made note of it, but it's just kind of, but if you go back to pre-80s, stuff that came over and was just simply translated, not edited for the American mind, you've got a totally better thing. And that's the way these comics come across to me. That if you try to make it an American-centric or try to put in the American values, the American hypocrisies and stuff like that, it loses it, because it wasn't written in that mindset. Or say a Batman or a Wonder Woman or something like that, which is Americana, done in the American light, the American mindset, it works. But I don't know. Let me know in the comments your views, if you've seen the movie, if you've read the comic books. Like I said, I've really enjoyed it. It was one of those ones that I almost kind of regret not watching in the theater. Yes, there was a ton of CG, and some of the CG did not age well. Some of it did, some of it did not. However, the story and the movie make up for it. So I'll go ahead and let everyone go here. And remember, to be a good human, to be good to other humans. Peace.
Hey, it's 10 p.m. Do you know where your children are?